So for now, I'm looking at my apple, and my apple has red and orange and yellow and a little bit of green, and all of that makes up the apple. So I take my red pastel. Now, pastels are very dense color. It's very, I would say, almost scandalous how bright it is, how in your face it is. So I tend to, or artists like to use every color with maybe a little bit of white or some white as the base, and then blend it in together, because that allows it to sort of tone down, make it more subtle than how it comes right out of the stick. So normally some artists will just basically put a little white into the whole base, into the whole background of the apple. You can do it that way, or you could work it later into. So we now have white in everything, and it'll allow us to blend much easier. So I'm looking at it and the sides, and I'm looking at this and looking at that, and I'm seeing how we can play with that. So it'll be a little bit deeper over here, and I'm never doing the tip. I'm always doing it sideways. You can see I'm doing. I'm not very good with my left hand, but I'm going to try it anyway, just to give it a shape. So it's shaping the, and any mistakes, anything I go out over into the, I just clean it into the back, or background. I just clean it with my kneaded eraser. So now that I have the red on the white over the white, then I'm going to look and find some yellow. And I'm going to see some yellow in here, and some yellow there. I'm going to try to put it in a little bit stronger in certain areas, because we're going to try to blend. And I'm going to take some orange now and put some orange wherever I see orange. And I'm not trying to create lines. I'm trying to create shades of orange. Not using the tip at all. I don't want to leave a line. I want to leave. Now, once we have some of that on there, I go back to my finger or my blending stump, and I like to use more my finger, and I start to blend these colors in together and soften them with the white that's underneath. Giving it a shape, trying to create that sort of voluptuous shape that the apple has. Pastels flow so easily. So now I'm seeing that and there's always like a towel that I use to clean my fingers, so that when you're blending, you're not just smearing everything. You need to have your hands clean at a certain point, as you would the background. So if I go out of my line, I can just fix it with my kneaded eraser, so I don't lose my shape. Okay, so now I go back to my apple, and now I pick another color that I've seen over here that I use to intensify that red And that I got from another larger box of more pastels. So I'm going to use this that I've used previously, and I thought that would really worked. So I'm going to use that on the sides to intensify that color more, to electrify that color more, let's say. To give it more volume, more definition, more of an accent. I'll mix that with the rest, and that'll give me more of my apple color. It's almost like modeling, like with modeling with clay. You want it to give a shape, to blend it, to have a rhythm to it. See? And then that allows me to see that I may need a little bit of yellow in there. Suggesting to me that it needs a little bit of yellow in there. And once I've done that, I clean my hands of the red, because the red is very powerful. And the yellow is a little bit weaker. So we're going to not overpower that yellow, but bring it into a kind of blending. Now, all techniques are interesting. All techniques are good. It's just a matter of you're going to identify with some more than others. So some people like black and white and charcoal. We're going to be using charcoal here also. So remember, one thing doesn't exclude the other. When we talk about mixed media, it's about mixing also the different techniques that you've used, the different possibilities that you've learned. So back to looking at striations that the apple may have. The sun has a lot to do with how apples are perceived, or how the color of the apple, the pigmentation of the apple. So sometimes it's the sun, sometimes it's a leaf that intervenes. And you'll see that whether it's an avocado or it's I'm putting yellow in the center there. And then sometimes it'll be, another apple that intervenes gets in the way of the sun or touches up against the apple. So now I'm at the point where I've spilled over a little bit, so I'm going to give it its shape again, define the shape. And remember, when we use it, the kneaded eraser, the way to clean it is stretching it and getting the debris or the pigmentation further in. And when it's like this, it's very light. It cleans better than when it's dirty or filled with residue, pigmentation. Okay, so I'm going to see that I'm going to add a little bit more, and I might even add some green in there, add some more red in here to create that important feeling. Now, I also have at my disposal the Conte, the Faber-Castell pastel pencils. And there's I have one orange and one red here. So I use these for detailed work. So when I get back in here, and I'm going to work the stem over there, the brown stem, I will use the brown Conte crayons, because it's very hard to get in there and do it any other way. So this is what I use for the background now. I'm going to play with these two colors. Put the orange in there where it's hard to get at. Just filling in like that with the pencil, and then I go with the red. This sticks, by the way, the pastel from the pencil sticks more to this, grabs more the surface than the regular soft pastel in the stick. The pencil grabs more of the surface. And it's kind of, when you want it to stay there and not move, that's what you would use. So I'm just cleaning up with the eraser to get the shape, because I have to put the shadow in there with the vine pastel. But before I do that, and before I detail anything more, remember, it's always about softening the edges, blending, making one thing go into another. You don't like lines in pastels. You don't really want lines to appear there. Okay, so we're still working on it. We're going to get that stem in the back. Now, if the light's coming from this side, you have to decide, like I did over here, the light's going to be on the right, and I'm sorry, the shadow's going to be on the right, and the light's going to be on the left. So I have these two pastel pencils that are light brown and dark brown. So I'm going to put the light brown stem on this side. And this is Faber-Castell polychromes that are on the list in the syllabus. Now they sell them in a box like this of 12, or they sell them independently and individually. And I get them at Art Systems. And I try to blend those two borders together so we don't have too strong of a division there. Just cleaning up. And I have some already on my hand, so I want to clean this up. Now I'm going to go into the cast shadow. And the cast shadow has two possibilities.